Good evening and good morning to all of you who have joined from across country and across the world. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of academic leadership as well as my personal behalf on this 24th International Leadership Lecture Series. And those who are might be joining first time, let me uh, introduce you about the Partha Academic Leadership. We started in 2021 in December 2021, and thereafter we started this leadership lecture series international, and so far we have conducted around 23 lectures by eminent personalities, and today is the 24th one in the series. Other than this, about the other than this program in online leadership lecture series, we have recently conducted leadership training programs for senior officials of NIC, MIT Government of India, as well as recently last week we have conducted, or let's say finished the leadership training program for the academicians under the Ministry of Education. So the leadership model actually it based on to the well celebrated model of Partha Ghosh sir, who is the founder of this Academy of Leadership, and which is on 3-5 model. And I think he is also today he couldn't join us online, but he has extended his warm wishes as well as he has uh, shared his recorded video to all of us. So without further delay, let's hear from Parthago's recorded lecture. Let's hear it, and then we'll come back to the today's lecture.
Welcome to today's session. Before we begin, I would like to quickly introduce the Academy of Leadership to you so that you can fully appreciate the significance of the leadership movement that we have begun at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. As you well realize, over the last 30 to 40 years, we have seen tremendous amount of changes globally, whether we look from the geopolitical point of view, whether we look from a geoeconomic point of view, or when you look at the tremendous amount of technological changes that are taking place in the world. So we do believe, because of this fundamental shifts that are occurring, we need leadership model which could address these complex challenges of our times with a new perspective where we could truly create what I call the plus-sum enlightened synergies as opposed to zero-sum game which leads to unnecessary conflicts and adversarial relationships. So we have to move from zero-sum to plus-sum game. And in order to do so, we build on two of the fundamental statements that we particularly celebrate. One is none other than Swami Vivekananda, who had to say, our real awakening occurs when we can dedicate ourselves genuinely towards an exalted purpose. And I think it's the responsibility for any kind of leadership school to be able to inspire that kind of spirit in each and every individual that we come across. The other one is from John F. Kennedy, the late President of the United States, who in one of his speeches did say, there are many kinds of courage, but the rarest courage of all is one where human beings can wage a silent battle to illuminate the nature of man and the environment that he lives in. And we do believe these two particular statements is at the core of what we want to achieve with your help as we launch the leadership movement at the Academy of Leadership at IIT Kharagpur. So we build up the model based on both Eastern and Western philosophy, drawing on the lessons from the Vedic philosophy, from Confucianism, Shintoism, Taoism, as well as drawing on the philosophies of Western philosophy, such as what fermented in the Greek and the Roman civilizations to the German and the Scottish philosophers in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, and more recently, the leadership models that evolved in business schools in the United States. We do not reject any of the models, but we accept and integrate this model into a concept which we believe should define the leadership movement of the 21st century. We believe leadership is all about connecting with your inner conscience, so that is the courage in your inner self, the creativity in your mind, and the compassion together. The three C's comes together to shape leadership behaviors of the 21st century. The model that we have developed is a model based on three powers: the power of intellect, power of intuition, and power of interconnectivity, through which you develop the power to influence positive outcomes. So welcome to this movement. I am sure you'll find today's session extremely profound, and in the process begin a challenge which will take in the development of the 21st century. Thank you.
That is our founder, Dr. Partha S. Ghosh. In fact, sir is here. I would request, sir, if you can at least spare a minute with us and share a few thoughts.
Well, thank you. Well, I like to underscore the importance of what Commander Jaitly will discuss today, because we are living in a world with so many divisions, so much of fragmentation, and our leadership model has been geared to create the harmony between different thoughts, different ideas. We celebrate all the ideas, but we have to find a way to harmonize. And that's what Commander Jaitly would be talking about. We are extremely eager. It's about 11 o'clock in the night in Japan, but I'm so eager to hear his thoughts. My sleep has disappeared, and I hope in that spirit, we would like to begin the session with Commander Jaitly.
Thank you, sir.
So, in fact, I'll request our chairman, Dr. Narendra Varshney, to please introduce today's speaker, Commander V.K. Jaitly. Though he doesn't need introduction, but sir, please would like to know more about Commander Jaitly in his introduction.
Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, Partha, sir. I know it's good that you joined. It's very late there in Japan. So thank you, and it's my profound privilege to talk about Commander Jaitly ji, to introduce you all about the Commander Jaitly ji. He is our distinguished alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. He is the founder of board member of PAN IT India. He has served as a president of IIT Kharagpur Alumni Foundation India, where he actively contributed to the institution growth and development. He is also board on the board of IIT Bhubaneswar and SOA University Bhubaneswar. He is the UGC nominee in the Finance Committee of SRM University Chennai. He also an advisor to technical student Gymkhana IIT Kharagpur, Subir Chaudhary School of Quality Reliability IIT Kharagpur, and our own Partha Ghosh Academy of Leadership at IIT Kharagpur. So he has contributed a lot. He has written, and he recently he has launched in a book where he has edited that book with 100 great IITians dedicated to the service of the nation, which is fetching very excellent reviews. The book aims to inspire the current and future generation of our nation. His earlier books, We Can, and Safalta Ki Udan in Hindi, and YouTube channel Excellence Guru have changed the lives of many. So he is also national coordinator of Youth for Nation. He is an extraordinary, I would say, the person, and with the high energy, dynamic energy. Whenever you meet him and chat with him, you'll find a lot of energy and charges with him. So, thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation and to be the 24th uh, speaker on this International Leadership Lecture Series. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lee. And I'm really grateful to Partha Ghosh ji, who has given me this opportunity, Professor Varshney, Pranav Patel ji. Thank you very much. My topic today is leadership for global peace and harmony. Now, this topic is very, very important these days when there is so much of trouble taking place in so many parts of the world. So, I thought, when I'm talking, let me think about the past also. We had all time some cruel leaders in this world. There have been problems from time immemorial. I'm not going to read even these names. You can just see it on the screen. So you may have heard many of them who were considered to be cruel leaders who created havoc for the humanity. At the same time, we had some great leaders in this world who looked after their laws. Now, what are the causes of this global turmoil which happens? Mainly, they say it is because of the political instability in a country. And second is unresolved internal conflicts. They could be because of religion, boundaries, or even, caste conflicts, language-based conflict. It could be anything. And of course, there's a tendency to control the natural resources of the other countries by superpowers. Third reason is also very, very important, let me tell you. Now, there has been a decline in the peacefulness index of 0.42. Ukraine recorded the largest deterioration in the index, falling 14 places to the 157 spot. The war cost for the Ukraine has been $449 billion, or 64% of its GDP. The human cost is also staggering. 65% of Ukrainian men between the age of 20 and 24 have either fled the country or have died during the conflict. What a great tragedy. I feel like crying looking at these figures. There are other countries like Haiti, Mali, and Israel. They were the other nations with the sharpest declines in this year's peacefulness index. And Russia also experienced the fifth largest decline in the rankings because of conflict with Ukraine. Now, who can control all these things? Obviously, the good leaders. Now, here are the top 10 global leaders today, as per some approval ratings. Who are those top 10? World's most popular leader is from India, our Prime Minister Modi. Rank number 10 is the Irish Prime Minister. And number 9 is the Prime Minister of Spain. Number 8 is the United States President Joe Biden. And rank number 7 is the Prime Minister of Belgium, Alexander De Croo. And Italian Premier Meloni is number 6. Her approval rating. Number 5 is Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony. Great. And rank number 4 is the Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula. And rank number 3 is Switzerland President. And rank number 2 is Mexican President. Wow, great approval ratings. And of course, number 1 is Prime Minister Narendra Modi with 76% approval ratings. And let me tell you, he has been getting these ratings for quite some time. For last almost, I think, 5 or 6 years probably, he has been scoring number 1. That is his grading. That's great. My computers have hanged. Why it's not going ahead? Sorry for
Yeah, sometimes freeze looks to be freezed.
screen.
Can you say once say share and share? Maybe check it,
Okay,
sir.
I'm just stopping sharing for a moment. Please excuse me. And now you see our Prime Minister, I say, he dreams for global harmony. Wherever he goes in the world, he talks about global harmony. And the world is accepting him now because he believes in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. In Sanskrit, the shloka says, Eam nija paroveti ganana lagu chetsam udara charita nam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It's mine, it is his. Such thinking is of a narrow person. Great people, they don't talk about this. For them, the whole world is one family. And during this G20, which happened recently in India, the African Union has been made a permanent member of the G20 with the initiative of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, in a move that has been broadly welcomed for giving the continent an important voice at the global level. Now, that is what, a great country which believes actually in this uh, one earth, one family, and one future. We really believe in that. And that is why the whole world is today looking up to India. Let's create a world with global peace and harmony. And let me tell you, Indian philosophy has the message for the whole world. The beautiful picture you are seeing is of the holy celebrations which we just had in India a week back, where we just forget all the enmities, even at our local level, among relatives, among friends. And then we put colors on everybody and rejoice that we forget all our old differences and start life together once again in a new way. What type of world do you want, gentlemen? Do you want a world of this type? Definitely no. I'm sure each one of you want a world like this, where the followers of all the faiths, they celebrate together all the occasions and they love each other, they respect each other. That is the type of world we all want. Gentlemen, the world is changing. In Rig Veda, there is a shloka, Ano Bhadra Kritvo Yantu Vishwato. What that means? Let noble thoughts come to us from everywhere. Wow. Very simple thing, but very difficult. Why? Because there are some preachers in this world who are not ready to accept the noble thought from the other side. They say whatever we say, whatever my book says, that is the ultimate truth. Nothing else is required to be accepted. Now that is the one which is the root cause of a lot of conflicts in this world. Terrorism starts from there. If everybody starts believing in this, let noble thought comes to us from everywhere, things will change. Gentlemen, the mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless it is open. So we have to keep our mind open. We have to allow the noble thoughts to come to us from all sides. Now here is Rabindranath Tagore from India, Bengal. He wrote a beautiful poem. The English translation goes like this: where the mind is without fear and the head is head high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where worlds come out from the depth of the truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into the heaven of freedom. My father, let my country awake. What noble thoughts. He wrote this poem when India was a slave country. That's the time when he wrote this about his country. Gentlemen, for all the leaders, you got to always have a positive attitude. You should not give up the hope. All great leaders, not only global leaders, even leaders at your level and my level and below, everywhere. In fact, I'll say each one of we should continue to have positive attitude, because a positive attitude alone will give rise to positive thoughts, and that will give rise to positive actions, and that will make positive habits, and that will result into positive results. So kindly never give up the positivity in your mind. This attitude, they say it is your attitude and not aptitude that decide your altitude. And this is true for any profession. So let's maintain our attitude in a totally positive way. And let's try to achieve excellence in whatever we do. Excellence, they say, is a journey. A leader should have an attitude to achieve excellence in whatever he does. and he should expect the same from his team. Excellence, excellence, excellence should be our mantra. And what is excellence? Doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Now that should become the part and parcel personality of a good leader. Now here are three pillars of the leadership. One is called competency, one is called character, and one is called enthusiasm. Now, competency is what we learn from the books, our domain knowledge, etc., whatever you call it. And what is character? Character is your value-based system, your ethics, your humane approach. And enthusiasm is your proactive approach in whatever you do, your ability to inspire others, your ability to motivate others. Now, these are the three pillars of leadership. Gentlemen, as leaders, I say take control. And there is a quote which says, your Zoom account is being signed in another device. I don't know who did this. Okay. They say 5% people make things happen in this world. 15% watch things happening. 80% don't know what the hell is happening. Now, all those who are in the top 5%, they are leaders at some level or the other. 5% people, they are the leaders, some level or the other. While the global leaders, of course, that will be only 0.005% who have to take lead into making this world a peaceful and a world with greater harmony. But the top 5% people who make things happen anywhere, they carry out a leadership role wherever they are, in whichever profession they may be. And we should all try to be in that top 5% wherever we are. And leaders take ownership mentality. They believe it is my own. And I urge all the top leaders in the world that they should take ownership mentality for the whole humanity, not only for their country, not only for their caste, not only for their religion, but for the whole humanity. That alone can bring peace and harmony in this world. Guys, have empathy in your personal life, day-to-day life, at the national level, at any conflict base. Just look at from the other person's point of view also. Very, very important. If we start doing this, most of the problems in this world, they will just disappear. Say yes to collaboration and say no to confrontation. Say yes to cooperation and no to conflict. Say yes to harmony. Say no to hatred. Say look for commonalities and not the differences. Friends, we have got so many commonalities between all the people from all over the world. Why should we keep talking about differences? Let's talk about the commonalities. And that is what will break the boundaries, and that will create the bridges from the same stones and the same bricks with which those boundaries have been created. Those boundaries can be demolished and that can be converted into the bridges. That's what is required by our great leaders. Respect diversity of culture, color, language, religion, and even gender also. We should believe in unity in diversity. We should love diversity wherever it is. Diversity of dresses, diversity of food, diversity of languages, diversity of everything. We should just love it. Gentlemen, there is a shloka from the Indian philosophy which says, Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyat dukh bhag bhavet. That means, may everybody be happy, may everybody be free from disease, may everybody have good luck, may none fall on evil days. It doesn't talk about my religious people, my caste people. No, it says Sarve bhavantu. Everybody in this world. It talks about for the whole humanity. And at the last it says, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. That means, let peace prevail on this planet. That's what it means. What a beautiful shloka. Now, don't you think that this shloka should be recited by everybody irrespective of his or her religion? Does it talk about any particular religion? No, it doesn't talk. It talks about the humanity. It talks about the peace that should prevail everywhere. Guys, Indian leadership has already shown the way for global peace and harmony. Yoga Day was declared the moment Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he became the Prime Minister of India. United Nations accepted it with a thumping majority of 170 plus countries. They said, yes, yoga is one which can break the barriers which have been built over the period of time. And I think you will agree with me. If all the people who are trouble creators are the terrorists, if they start doing yoga, I guarantee you, all those negative thoughts from their mind will start disappearing. And a person who does yoga, meditation, he can never become a terrorist. I guarantee you that. You show me one person who regularly does yoga and who becomes a terrorist. No, he will not. And similarly, a terrorist can be converted back to a good human being if he starts doing yoga. That is guaranteed. Here's a message from India to the world. Again, one line shloka. Ekam sat vipra bhuda vadanti. Truth is one. The learned call him by different names. No, we don't object to anybody worshipping in any way he or she likes. Let everybody worship the way he or she wants. No problems. And that is the beauty of this land of Bharatvarsh, which has given this message to the world. Truth is one. The learned call him by different name. So embrace godliness. And godliness means oneness. And we are all creation of the same Almighty. Let's graduate from the narrow religion towards spirituality. That will remove all the problems which are in this world. And gentlemen, for global harmony, there is another area we have to take care of. Non-exploitation of natural resources of the countries by superpowers. Some of our superpowers, they want to grab the natural resources of small countries, poor countries, which is very bad. Oil, mineral, water, etc. is the wealth of that particular country. So no other country has the right to grab them from any other country. And for global harmony, respect sovereignty of all the countries. Big or small, no matter. Country is a country, respect them as a country. No bullying by the strong, not allowed. Should not happen. So the bigger responsibility lies on the shoulders of big countries. Save the planet. They say the world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed. In fact, I say, why everyone's? Not even one person's greed also can be satisfied with the help of, if the greed is existing in his or her mind. We have to get rid of this greed, only then this planet can be saved. And the greed of the multinationals, of superpowers, I tell you, they have created a lot of havoc in this world. First, they sell the arms to other countries. Then they create conflicts. Then they incite the countries for the armed conflicts. And then the war starts. They destroy their infrastructure with missiles and bombs. And after their economy has taken a big hit, they mediate for ceasefire or some temporary compromise. And then they give loans for the reconstructions on very tough terms and conditions. And when they can't repay their loans, they grab their lands and the natural resources. Just imagine what a wicked way of making money by these some multinationals. Very, very bad. Now, this greed for the money should disappear. The so-called stakeholders, the shareholders of such companies, some humane elements have to be inculcated in their minds. Think of the humanity. Don't try to make money on the corpses of the other people by killing other people. Gentlemen, we in India, in this country, our philosophy tells us embrace all, hate none. We must be embracing all, and we should work for the development for all. They say poverty leads to conflicts and disharmony, while prosperity leads to peace and harmony. So we should work for the prosperity of each and every human being on this earth. So let's have jihad. The word jihad is very, very important and very popular also. That's why I'm using this word jihad. So let's have jihad against poverty, against illiteracy, and against terrorism. That's what is required if we wish to bring peace and harmony in this world. Most important mantra for global harmony is dialogue, dialogue, and dialogue with an open mind. That is what we should do. You don't have to be the prisoner of past, but an architect of your future. Global leaders should work for the UN Charter. And for the 21st century, there are various issues which are confronting humanity, like sustainable development, peace and security, climate change, human rights, disarmament, terrorism, and gender equality, governance, food production, and humanitarian and health emergencies, and more. Now, these are the things on which our leaders should be paying their attention and not anywhere else. Let's start working on these things, and that is how we will make this world a beautiful world, a peaceful world, and a world with harmony among all the human beings. Gentlemen, our chairman Partha Ghosh has given a 3PI model of leadership. I tell you, it's beautiful. The 3Ps, the power of intellect, power of interconnectivity from within to outside and from the others, and power of intuitions. And now all these three then lead to power of the team, possibilities grounded on reality, perseverance, and principles. Now, if we start following this leadership model and we start inculcating in the minds of everybody, I tell you, slowly, slowly, the people will start realizing how beautiful this world is. Why not we should have a peaceful world, and why not we should have harmony everywhere. And gentlemen, this is what Partha Ghosh Academy of Leadership at IIT Kharagpur is trying to survive. So that whether we are Hindus, Buddhists, Muslim, atheists, Christians, or Jews, whatever, we believe ultimately we are all human beings. And that is what is required. Gentlemen, with that, I come to the end of my talk. Thank you very much. And you can see the cover page of my latest book, where I have given the stories of 100 great IITians dedicated to the service of the nation. And I'm glad that in this book also, at the last page, under the heading Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, I got the message from our chairman, Partha Ghosh. Thank you very much, sir. And with that, I come to the end. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for an excellent talk. So, session is open for the questions. So, those I can see a few questions which are there onto the chat box. Other than like to ask any questions live also, we can take a few questions. Sir, can you raise your hand so that we know? Hello. Unmute yourself. Okay, sir. In the I can read the one question. There is a chat box. As you said about the militarization, is an question says the militarization is a dilemma in the index. When you talked about this peaceful index, when you're talking about, so if a country is forced to militarize due to the border conflicts or other who are attacked by others, for example, border conflicts as India as an example, and attacked by others, example is in Ukraine, then they will go down in the index for no faults of theirs. So, any views on this? I mean, why the rankings should go down based on their no faults?
Correct. See, the thing is, every country, their leaders should show maturity that the conflicts don't happen. We should not try to capture the resources, the natural resources of any other country. We should be happy within our own boundaries, our own country's boundaries. Why should we try to put our nose and poke our nose into another country's affairs? If all the countries start believing in that, these conflicts will be minimized. However, at the same time, if there is a trouble created in your neighborhood and they keep troubling you, you can't help it. For example, in our own India's case, for example, we have got two very difficult neighbors. One is Pakistan and one is China. Now, we have never, created any problem inside their country. But somehow, we have kept on facing problems for both these countries. So, India has to gear up itself in the military way to face up those challenges. And India being such a big country with maximum population in the world, we have to take care. I think just getting a better ranking in the peaceful index, that is not the priority. And moreover, tomorrow, this organization which does this GPI, they can probably think of some area, they can decide that here a country was forced to take military action. The country was forced to prepare their military because they had enemies all around there. So maybe some changes can be done in calculating this GPI also over a period of time. That suggestion can be given to them.
Thank you, sir.
Dipanjan
Dipanjana, I think, yes, please. Okay, unmute yourself.
Dipanjan, you can show your face also, smiling face.
Good evening, sir. Actually, maybe there will be some difficulty in connectivity, so I'm just keeping my video off. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for allowing me to join to this webinar and enlightening us about this Global Peace Index. Every index we know that is based on certain criteria. So the criteria which has been on the basis of this particular Global Peace Index is very well taken. But I also feel, sir, this is now time to review and redefine the Global Peace Index in context of the increasing number of natural hazards due to climate change. My thought triggered from seeing that Iceland was in 2023 was the one of the most peaceful country and it ranked 1. But what will happen this year? We are every day seeing the volcanic eruption, how it is disrupting that small country's economy, its society. So if we right now, the way the climate change is striking imbalance in every facets of our life, when we are calculating a Global Peace Index, my submission is, isn't it the time to redefine it?
See, this because of the climatic change, when the problems happen with a country, I don't think as of now, as far as the Global Peace Index is concerned, it doesn't affect them. As I told you, that there are 3 parameters, conflict-based. Within the society, the various problems are there, how many people are there in the prison, etc., how is the crime rate and all those, militarization and all those type of things, and their conflicts with the other countries. So that is based on that. As far as climatic change is concerned, it is none of the fault of that particular country. So why their GPI should suffer because of any climatic changes, any problems which happen, some cyclones or some volcanoes, etc., why the country's peace index should get disturbed? Yes, because of if those volcanoes, their internal trouble starts, people start killing each other because of the lack of resources, they start becoming antisocial elements, then obviously their GPI will come down. But directly, the climatic change should not reduce their GPI at all, according to me.
There are studies that right now that the climate change, the global warming is also increasing the societal conflict and disharmony. And we, as an Anthropocene, we cannot deny our responsibility towards climate. I mean, of this disharmony.
Yes, on that count, I do agree that we should be resilient enough not to fall prey to any global problems, to any climatic problems. We should continue to keep our head high, convert into a helping attitude for everybody. Those who have got extra resources, they should share it with those who have lost their everything, so that their GPI further improves with those type of actions. And that is possible, that the society should work like a homogeneous unit within the same country where the problem takes place. Okay.
So there's a
Next.
question from Mr. Pankaj Deka, where he's asking, already developed West using climate hypocrisy to stop development in smaller underdeveloped countries. Ghana oil exploration by sovereign country development agenda for overall development of their own country. So basically, they use climate change as now a tactic to let others not grow. So what's your opinion on this climate hypocrisy of the West under the UN umbrella?
I do agree with him that there are countries who have exploited all the natural resources to the extreme themselves and become economically very strong countries. And now they are telling the smaller countries that you don't. Sorry, if the people are hungry in a particular country, they have to exploit those natural resources. But still, I will maintain, please exploit only to the extent you need it. Nature has sufficient to fulfill the needs of everybody, but not the greeds of everybody. So just based on the need, we have to exploit the natural resources. And all these rich countries, they should stop, they should reduce their exploitation. So what we keep talking about, the various, the so-called developed country and underdeveloped country index, it is based on consumption. If the consumption of a particular product is high in a particular country, we call it a developed country. Totally nonsense. It should not be based on that. Just because you consume more paper, you consume more electricity, you consume more water, you are a developed country. Sorry. That criteria needs to be changed.
Sure, thank you, sir. There is a question from Dr. Pradipta Chandra, where the question is, what are the short-term goals of leadership to achieve higher leadership goals for common individuals? Short-term goals which people should have to develop leadership quality, I would say, in that sense, to achieve higher goals.
See, the short-term goals for the leadership at any level should be to build harmony in our vicinity. Wherever we are, it starts from the family. Within the family, we should try to ensure that we have harmonious relationship between all the members of the family. Then you go out of the family within your mohalla or your society. And then from the society, go to the city level, your organization level. So spread the message of coexistence, cooperation, collaboration, and not of conflict and all other various problems. We should try to believe in living together, live and let live. From there it starts and then it goes to the higher levels.
Great, sir. Sir, going from climate change to leadership talks, there is a question for current geopolitical development which has happened recently, where Ranveer Sinha is asking, Indian Navy recently rescued an Iranian ship with Pakistani crew. So was that a normal operation or an act of charity, he's asking?
India always does acts of charity with anybody all over the world. And being from the Indian Navy, I am proud that Indian Navy did a great job. In my background, you can see there's various Indian Navy ship. And this is my ship, by the way, INS Virat. And I feel very happy that the Indian Navy did it. Today, our Marco, they can help anybody in the world today. And if we rescue a ship anywhere in any part of the world, I feel proud of it. Yes, these are acts of charity for the other countries when they get into problem and we help them out. Why not? We should do if we are capable of doing it. As a strong person, you should use your energy and your strength to help others. not to harm others. That is, I believe. And India is on the way to becoming a superpower, let me tell you, over a period of time. We have already started taking care of the other small countries. Like during COVID, we distributed vaccine in large numbers to poor countries free of cost. Which rich country has done like that? No way. These rich countries, they just sell you the arms. They make you fight. They make you destroy your infrastructure. And then they give you the loan on very difficult conditions that ultimately you have to sell your resources also. You see the condition of Sri Lanka, though they didn't go on war with anybody, but still the way their resources were cornered by one of our neighbor. And finally they have realized, yes, they did a mistake. And now they are coming on the right track. So I think India somehow has a philosophy of not attacking any country, not interfering in the internal affairs of any country, but helping the humanity as much as we can. And that is because of our philosophy of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya. And we believe Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole earth is one family. And let's hope that we continue to follow that philosophy.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, there are questions coming in. However, this question on Pakistan really brings up a thought in my mind, and I will take this opportunity to ask you this question right away. In the geopolitical scenarios, we define terrorist at times that might be terrorist. So how do we differentiate between these two in today's world, where we're looking at peace as a solution? However, some are called terrorists at the same time, the same people where others are called revolutionaries. So how do we differentiate this and try and bring in that harmony or the balance in the society?
Your voice broke in between. Just please ask once again.
Sure, sir. So what I was saying is we define terrorist in two types at times. People say good terrorist and bad terrorist. Good terrorists at times are the revolutionary people who are fighting for their rights, who are fighting for their nation. At times, they are probably they are the one who have been thrown away from the nation or something in their issues which are there. So they are at times been tagged as revolutionaries or good terrorists, they say. So to bring in this global harmony which we are talking of, so how do we find this balance between the two?
Good. Very nice. And very important question. Now, let me tell you, anybody who harms the innocent people in the name of being a revolutionary, he is not a revolutionary, he is a terrorist. And there's nothing like good terrorist and a bad terrorist. A terrorist is a bad terrorist always. A terrorist is a terrorist. And once there is an armed struggle between two countries, fine, that is perfectly okay. Because on some issues they are fighting, okay, let's accept it. Even, of course, when we talk about the peace and global harmony, we should try to remove those differences also between the two countries also. Whether they are boundary conflicts, whether they are sharing of natural resources conflict, whatever it is, we should try to, get rid of those differences and conflict. But as far as a terrorist is concerned, there is nothing like a good terrorist. A terrorist is always a bad terrorist, and he has to be handled in that way only.
Excellent misuse of water and other resources or natural resources that we talk of. So when at times people overuse and go from need to greed. So how do we stop that part of over exploitation of natural resources?
Yes, some countries, they are, exploiting, as I said earlier also, the natural resources to a large extent. I think we have to make them realize that this whole planet belongs to all of us. Just because you are a rich country doesn't belong to you only. It belongs to everybody. So they should be made aware of their responsibility towards every human being on this earth, to the future generation. We have borrowed this earth from our children. We have to leave this earth in a good shape for our children. We can't keep on cutting trees all around and then make this whole world as a barren world. And then there's a shortage of water. We should be, saving water also, making all the possible methods to conserve water and not to create pollution, whether it's air pollution or water pollution. So from all angles, everybody, and particularly the developed nations, they have a bigger responsibility of consuming less and less and less. And we should try to use as many natural resources as possible. For example, solar power today has become the cheapest power in the world today. Why should we go for solar? And let me tell you, India has the goal of 2030. All our power, 50% of that will be from the natural resources, renewable energy. 50% by 2030. Such high goals. And by 2070, we want to become a zero emission country in this world. 2070. Now, that is the tough goals India has set for itself. Why can't such goals be set for the rich countries also? They should set it for themselves. Unfortunately, they have been exploiting and exploiting and exploiting and trying to give lecture to the other countries. That is not acceptable. They should now become role models for the other countries basically, and even spend more money if required on some resources to conserve them. That is what is the need of the hour if we have to save this planet. It's the responsibility of every human being on this earth to conserve this planet for our future generations.
So excellent, really very inspired to hear that when we're talking of being need-based and not exploiting others' resources. So there's a leadership question from Rashmi Mahapatra. The question is how to handle micro-level leaders. A very interesting question. I would in fact like to understand more from Rashmi ji. But then, so from your perspective, how to understand micro-level leaders? How to handle micro-level leaders is the question.
How to handle micro level leaders. Okay, if I have understood the question rightly, when you say micro level leaders, that means probably low level leaders. How to handle that? That means how the senior leaders should handle the lower level leaders. So I have a philosophy of leadership orbits. We are leaders at different levels of orbits. Even a person who is running a family of, let us say, 2 kids, his wife and himself, even he is a leader at his level who is running his family only. Similarly, the wife at home is a leader for her children. A rickshaw puller, he has got, let us say, in a stand, there are 15 rickshaw puller. One of them takes the leadership role. So he is the leader for those 15 people in taking some important decisions. So we have leadership at different levels. In school, colleges, in our organization, in university, where we work. So there are supervisors, there are managers, then there are top leaders, and then there are leaders at the national level and leaders at the global level. Colleges. So when you say the people who are below you, they have some managerial roles and they have some leadership roles. They have leadership roles for the people whom they command, who are under them. And they have the managerial roles for the responsibilities which you give it to them. So when you give them the responsibility, you make them accountable for those jobs. That is very important. And when you make them accountable for those jobs, please give them the authority also at their level. Many times where we fail as leaders, we give the responsibility to our juniors, we give the accountability also to them for a particular job, but we keep the authority with us. Now that is very, very wrong. When we want somebody to do something, we must give him or her the authority also at his level so that he or she can execute in a beautiful way. Only then his or her efficiency will improve. Her productivity or his productivity will improve. So always remember to give them the authority also within their level. So that is important. That is how you can manage and you conduct your people in a very nice way. Further, based on urgency and the importance of it task, when you delegate somebody some job, if it is of a very important nature and still you have to delegate, you can delegate and monitor. But if it's a lower importance and lower urgency, delegate and forget. Let him or her do it in his way or her way, because it's a lower importance and lower urgency. And if it's a very top urgency and top importance, you yourself just do it immediately. Don't delegate even. Just do it yourself. So if it is that high urgency and high importance, just do it yourself. Maybe with the help of some people. So that is how you manage the leadership at various levels.